Hey Fear fans, today we're back with another video, and today we have a special video for you because I'm going to be giving you 3 tips on how to play Bayonetta. I've been playing Bayo for about 6 years now, so I feel like I am, well equipped in this area. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys hope you guys enjoyed the video. I worked really hard on this, so yeah. Tip number 1, positioning after combos. It's important to be wary of where you position yourself after combos to maintain your advantage state. I feel Bayos often put themselves in unfavorable positions when finishing a combo. Keep in mind what tools your opponent has while in disadvantage, what percentage they're at, and what character they're playing. So the problem with Bayo players nowadays is that the thing I notice the most is that they tend to like tunnel vision for like the big combo routes, right? Um, I have had a lot of lessons with students where they ask me like, "Hey guys, can you teach me how to do these like long combos, right?" Um, but that's not where Bayo's strengths lie. Like her strengths lie when she's like able to like reset situations while also like putting herself in a favorable position like when she lands. So when she's landing and she has like, you know, small amount of lag, she has time to like reset combos or situations to put, to potentially net a stock or like just add on more percent, right? So I feel like the correct thing to do is, set up a combo, be wary of where you're like going to land, right? After the combo. Watch what your opponent like opts for um, in disadvantage, whether that's like pressing a button, that's air dodging, that's, not pressing anything at all, right? Um, and then punishing it accordingly. To add on to this point, another important tip when playing Bayo is knowing when to drop combos / leave your combos short to mitigate potential reversal situations. If you aren't comfortable with the follow-up, sometimes it's better to go for smaller routes and prioritize positioning over damage. Bayo's damage output is very strong, so the damage will come to you if you focus on your positioning and the habits / tools you and your opponent's character has. So what that means is, if you're fighting someone like Peach, for example, Peach has really poor landing options. He's floaty, so a lot of times you can end off your combos really, really short. So you could do like Witch Twist, forward air 1, 2, 3. The fair will send her up really high, so then you can prioritize like sharking her with like up airs or ABKs because those hitboxes are way better than anything she has, right? She can only has like float air dodge, right, to weave in and out of stuff, or down air. And down air is not that great at challenging Bayo's hitboxes because Bayo's hitboxes are way too big. So a lot of times you can throw like up airs, right? And to force like a option out of her. So if say you up air and she air dodges, you just frame trap that with an up tilt and you keep going. And then you get more and more damage. So I feel like I feel like the problem with Bayo players is that they like tunnel vision the combos and they try to go for the big like, huge explosive combos, but that's not really where the damage is really coming from. It only really happens when you have like rage or you have like data on the opponent. So that's why these combo routes that I'm explaining to you are really important because they give you data on like what the opponent like opts for when they're in disadvantage. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're playing Bayo. Just like sometimes it's better to go for these shorter combos because it gives you data on what the opponent wants to do in disadvantage, so then you can continue these combos or make, the big combos that you guys want to do so badly. So, tip number 2. ABK, also known as Afterburner Kick, is a tool used to close space and disrupt the flow of neutral. You often see it used to catch people jumping, to start combos, step dashes, shield poking, or to disengage from sticky situations. Because ABK is so versatile and polarizing, people will actively play around this option. They do this by shielding, crouching, or playing just outside the range of the move. It's your job as the Bayo player to keep track of how they play around it. So because ABK is so threatening in neutral, and it's a big tool that Bayo uses, right? I like to compare ABK to like Ignair. Ignair is a tool that, Ike uses a lot because it starts up combos, it has good pressure, it's very safe, right? So I like to compare the two because it's like the core move in their kit. So people keep this in mind, like they keep these things in mind when they play against Bayo, right? So you have to be like consciously thinking about how they're playing around it, because every player knows that ABK is really good. It's really fast, it's strong, right? It's a strong combo starter, right? Catches people jumping. So you have to be thinking about what they're doing. So say the opponent is shielding a lot, right? If you recognize that, you start grabbing them. So an example of this happening that's pretty common is that when you're at ledge, people tend to stand just outside the range of ABK to punish it. So what you do to combat that is you could jump on the stage, right, and just pretend as if you're going to ABK, like threaten the idea or the option of it, right? And you can grab them. So there's like layers to the move, and I feel like Bayo players don't think about this very often, and they don't really think about how to combat options like that. And they tend to think like, okay, if the opponent is shielding or like they're running away from me or they're doing X, Y, or Z, they feel like they can't do anything. And that's not really the case. Because Bayo's so flexible, she has an answer for most situations, and I just think it takes a little more thought. And I feel like a lot of people in this game don't really think about things like that, right? They think about what's strong and they abuse it. So for example, Afterburner kick, ABK, it's very strong, so they abuse it. So yeah, just think about what your opponent is doing and find the answers to it. There's never a wrong answer to a situation. Just try things out, see what works, and then go from there. Tip number 3, Bayo's grab game. Bayo's grab game is strong and often overlooked because according to the Smash team, all you have to do in order to beat her is shield, which is false to some extent. Her shield pressure and amazing grab game can often net her early kills, and her throws put the opponent in uncomfortable positions. These awkward spots force them to guess correctly or take an absurd amount of damage, maybe even a stock. So, Bayo players, there's this really cool button. It's the Z button. The Z button is really good at dealing with shielding, which is something like I mentioned before. A lot of people tend to think is Bayo's issue, which is not true at all. Bayo also has a lot of really strong pressure tools to open up the opponent that forces them to shield to get those grabs. The range where she's fighting at, which is the mid range, is about like this much. You're like this close to the opponent, right? So this range, this is usually where your down tilts hit, where your back airs hit, your nairs, your forward airs, etc. So this range is really good for Bayo because she can safely pressure the opponent and kind of find openings in the opponent's defensive options and whatnot. From there, when you react to those situations, you can get throws that, the grabs I was talking about. These grabs lead into like damage, these grabs lead into like data for you to gather so that you can keep getting more damage, right? So with up throw is like your main throw that you go for. Up throw sets up situations like I was mentioning that put the opponent in these very like vulnerable states, right? So say you're playing against Mario, you up throw Mario. Mario players tend to nair or press something out of disadvantage because the nair is really fast. It's really good at like just interrupting any advantage that the opponent wants to do. So to combat that, you could either shield the nair and witch twist out of shield and then set up a juggle from there, right? You could witch time to start up a combo. If he double jumps, you can double jump up there and catch that double jump and then force a 50-50 situation out of that. Her other throws, forward throw and back throw, they both set up really good edgeguard sequences. That's their main use. Forward throw is also a kill throw. So Bayo's grab game is very strong because the range where she likes to fight at is at the mid range, where she can poke and attack the opponent to force them to pick something. So that range, she likes to down tilt, she likes to back air, she likes to nair, she likes to forward air. This range is really good for her because it forces the opponent to guess properly. So within that range, that makes grab really good because grab is very hard to react to, right? So through these grabs and these throws, so when you get a throw, the throw that most Bayos go for is up throw. Up throw is very strong because it sets up, you're in the air. Bayo's very strong in the air. She has ways to like beat most options when people are in the air, because ABK and a lot of her other buttons are really strong. So, for example, say you're grabbing Mario. Mario players like to nair at a disadvantage a lot. That's like something they opt for most of the time. So a lot of times you can do shield in the witch twist to set up a juggle. You could witch time the nair. You could like dash out and hit his landing for pressing nair. You could also just let him nair you and make him feel comfortable doing an option like that, right? So there's a lot of ways to like set up the opponent to gather data so that you can blow them up for it. That's basically what Bayo's good at. She gets these throws, or she gets these situations that are very unfavorable for the opponent, and she forces them to pick something correctly. If they don't do that, they get blown up. If they do, that's just more data. You think about what they like to pick in those situations, and you blow them up for that. Her other throws are forward throw and back throw. These throws are really good for setting up edge guards, which is Bayo's another strong suit for Bayo. Like, she's very good at putting people off stage and then forcing them in these bad spots that I was talking about before. And yeah, so Bayo is just very good at like getting these grabs. The shield propaganda, that's not real. It's never been an issue because her pressure is very strong and her grab game is really strong. So I need you Bayo players to hit the Z button when you see it. When you see a shield, see someone running away, and you may flicker that shield even for a little bit, just press that Z button, grab them, and set up your advantage state. And that's the video. So thank you guys for watching. I worked really hard on this for you guys. I really wanted to have some Bayo content out there for people to watch. I think what I'm going to do is leave a guide in the description so you can follow along and get an idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, stay tuned for more Fear content. Thank you guys again, and peace.